Okay, morphology. To understand the morphology, the word morphology, first let us discuss or let us review or let us recap what we learned in case of this phonology. Okay, what is in the phonology? What is the phonology? We discussed that phonology is the study of sounds and their functions,
Yes,
and
sir.
how the sound is formed, and how different sounds may be grouped as a syllable, and how different sounds may be grouped as words. What is the mechanism and what are the properties of those sounds we discussed. In that, the important point we discussed is that phoneme and form. We should know the difference between these two. We should remember the difference between these two, phoneme and form. Okay, phoneme is an abstract system of sounds. Phoneme is an abstract unit of sound, we can say. Abstract unit, that is also unit, but it is an abstract form. Abstract form in the sense based on the theory, based on the construction. Okay, for example, vowel and consonant. Consonant, vowel, and consonant. This is the structure of a phonological unit or the structure of a phoneme. Okay, see, consonant, vowel, and consonant. This is the structure of a phonological or phonemic unit, you can say, phonemic unit. Then CAT, the first one, consonant, A. C is a consonant, A is a vowel, and again T is a consonant. Consonant, vowel, and consonant. Okay, this actual word cat, when we utter that actual word, okay, when we utter that actual word, that is form. Okay, if we do not utter that and it exists in abstract system cat, a consonant, a structure of a vowel, consonant, vowel, and consonant, then that is morpheme. Okay, so what are the morphemes? They are what are the phones? Okay, they are phonemes. What are the phones? They are phonemes. But the phone is practical on reality. The phone is real. The phone is real. The phone is actual sound. But phoneme is abstract system, an imaginary system, existence of an imaginary word or existence of an imaginary phonemic structure. That is phoneme. Okay, so we should understand that point carefully. The phoneme is the abstract system, abstract unit or sound type. Okay, so there are many different versions of that sound type regularly produced in actual speech. Okay, for example, CAT, that is funny. In the phone, we will utter it with different pronunciations. When a particular word is uttered or pronounced, then it is form. CAT, cat. Okay, some people who don't know the proper pronunciation of that word cat, they may pronounce it as cat, or they may pronounce it as a cat, because they don't know exact pronunciation. Okay, But sometimes, in case of these phonemes, okay, the small unit of sound is ta or pa or yeah. This these are the small units. These are the minimal units. We can say minimal units. Even in the pronunciation of these minimal units, we will find the differences. We will find the differences. Okay, in case of ta, T-A-R, ta, we will stress on the word, on the sound ta, ta. But in case of writer, there, less prominence. Okay, less prominence on T. And if it is the word eighth, the same T now can be pronounced as ta, eighth. The same phoneme T, ta sound. But in combination, in the combination of, or with the combination of others, with the combination of other sounds, or in the combination with other sounds, okay, their pronunciation or their prominence of utterance may be different. Their prominence of utterance may be different. Okay, so now let us move to understand morphology. As we know, this phonology is the study of sounds and their functions, then physical properties. Okay, this morphology is also the study of forms. Okay, phonology studies the sounds. Okay, now this morphology studies the forms. Okay, forms. What forms? What are formed by using sounds? What are formed by using sounds? Or what are the written representative letters for those sounds? What are the forms for those sounds? Such forms can be studied. Okay, so morphology mostly can be identified with the written language. We need the combination of sounds as a word. That's why the morphology will study the word. Okay, mostly written word, and even, of course, oral word is also important. Okay, but for linguist, this written form, that will be more evidential source. Anyhow, see, the morphology is a study of the forms which was originally used. Actually, that word morphology is used in biology. Okay, that word was adopted into linguistics in 19th century. In the 19th century, that word was adopted into linguistics. Okay, then they adopted the word this morphology into linguistics, and they termed the study of the forms as morphology. What do we study in this morphology? We study in this morphology, or we investigate in this morphology, the basic forms in language. Okay, so our credibility, or the credibility for human language, is The ability to create forms out of sounds. The ability to create forms out of sounds. Okay, so by combining different sounds into words, into groups, we can form words. We can form words. WORDS, words. So this morphology will investigate the basic forms in language. The basic forms in language. Those basic forms we call elements. Those basic forms we call elements. Okay, in language we call those basic forms as basic elements. Okay, what we have been describing as element in the form of the linguistic message are technically known as morphemes. Those basic elements, those basic elements those elements are technically called as morphemes, right? That's why here morphemes, okay, simply we can say morpheme is a word form. Morpheme is a word form. That's why morpheme, okay, morpheme, or we can say word forms may consist of, word form may consist of number of elements. Word form may consist of number of elements. Okay, we can recognize that English word forms, for example, English word forms such as talks, talker, talked, and talking must consist of one element, talk, and the other four elements, S, ER, ED, and ing. All these elements are described as morphemes. Okay, this point you should understand carefully. I am repeating again. See, word forms may consist of a number of elements. Number of elements. We can recognize, for example, okay, talks. What is the spelling?
TALKS.
Yes, TALKS, talks. Another one, talker, TALKER, talker. And another one, talked, TALKED, talked. And the next one, talking, TALKING, talking. Is it, or these are the same word or different words? Are these all different words or same words?
Same words, sir. Same verb,
Same
actually,
verb.
sir. Verb, sir. Yes, sir.
Same verb, but
But different tenses, sir.
different word forms.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's why here in these words, one word is common, that is talk. Am I right? Talk is common. In case of the first word, talks, we can separate S, then talk plus S. In the next example, talker, talk plus ER. And the third one, talked, talk plus ED. And fourth one, talking, talk plus ing, talking. Interesting thing is that each sound is a morpheme. Each sound is a morpheme. Okay, then you may have a doubt. Okay, Talk individually, talk is a sound. Then what about ER? How ER is a sound? Or how here is an element that is morpheme? Okay. In fact, that is also a morpheme. That is also a morpheme. Right? So dear students, here in these examples, one element is talk and the other elements are S, ER, ED, ING. These are other elements. These are other elements. Okay. Then better write on these four words on a paper. In this discussion, you can separate. Okay, in
Yes,
this
sir. Writing,
discussion,
sir.
yeah. If you write on paper, then it will be helpful to you separate them. Okay, then we can discuss them clearly. So here, all these elements are described as morphemes. All these elements are described as morphemes. Okay, the first element, that is talk, and in each word there is another element. There is another element. That is S or ER, ED, ING. Okay. So one is talk. Talk is actually this talk. The word talk is content word. The word talk is content word because it carries the content. Talk means మాట్లాడడం. That sense will be there in that word talk. An action will be there in that word talk. Then what can we find in word in the morpheme es or ed or er or ing? What can we find? Okay, we can find that these additional morphemes, okay, these additional morphemes are, you see, functional or a grammatical function. Those words we use for grammatical function. Okay, grammatically functional words they are. Sorry, grammatically functional morphemes they are. Okay, but if you observe carefully, in case of talking, or in case of talks, these three will represent no doubt tense. These three will represent no doubt tense. But what about talker? Talker, TALKER, talker.
Person, sir.
Yeah, it is a person. Person in the sense here, it is not a verb.
Yes, sir. It's not a
Okay.
verb, sir.
Then what it may be?
It represents a noun, sir.
Yes, noun. Yes, noun.
Noun, sir.
Have you observed one thing? By adding s to the word talk, still it remained as the verb.
Yes, sir.
By adding ed to the verb talk, still it remained as a verb. By
Yes, sir.
adding by adding ing to the
Ing.
verb, still it remained as a verb. But in case
Verb.
of
Yes, sir.
talk, in case of adding er to the verb talk, then we got noun.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
the class the class of word was changed. The class of word was changed from verb to the noun. From verb to the noun. That's why here we can understand that actually these are all in plain grammatical language. In plain grammatical language, we can say they are suffixes. They are suffixes. Okay. So in this morphology, we will give, okay, a good name or a technical name to the suffixes and prefixes. Okay, you see, units of this grammatical function includes forms used to indicate, okay, that may be present tense or present continuous tense and past tense. Talked, past tense. Talks, simple present tense. And talking, present continuous tense. Okay, likewise. Okay, we can use or we can understand the words may be formed in such a way even by the combinations of the content words with the functional words. That's why broadly we can discuss or we can define that morpheme. What is morpheme? The abstract or the minimal unit of verb form, the minimal unit of basic form, the unit of your basic form, the unit of your basic form. Okay, form in the sense here, the group of sounds, that is word. Okay, now we can understand that morphemes are two types. Okay, so better write down. Morphemes are two types. One is free morpheme, another one bound morpheme. One is free morpheme, another one bound morpheme. Okay, in the previous example, talk is a free morpheme. Talk is a free morpheme. It can exist independently. That's why it is a free morpheme. Okay, but in this word, word, that is talker, 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 in that word, if we separate er from the talk, talk, then if we write talk plus er, then er individually can't exist as a morpheme, because that er will take a shape when it is grouped with or when it is combined with a free morpheme. That's why we call this er or ed or s or ing, these grammatically functional morphemes we call as bound morphemes. Okay, remember, bound in the sense dependable or dependent. Okay, free in the sense independent. Better remember like that. Okay, so morphemes, free morpheme and bound morpheme. What is free morpheme? Okay, if we could find a particular word, okay, if we could find a particular word which is independent, then it is free morpheme. Right? So free morpheme can stand by themselves as single words. Free morphemes, understand this definition. Free morphemes can stand themselves as single words. For example, new, okay, and stand. Okay, cap, cap, cap. These are free morphemes because they are independent and they can stand as a single words. They can stand as single words. Okay, but the morphemes such as er, ed, ing, sometimes re, okay, re, ist, and ed, s. Okay, such words we can say bound morphemes. Bound morphemes. See, try to catch this word carefully. New is a free morpheme. Renew is a morpheme which has both free morpheme and bound morpheme. Because in that renew, re is bound morpheme. Re is bound morpheme. Of course, in plain grammar, we may call it as a prefix. Re as a prefix, but it is a bound morpheme. Okay, so in this bound morphemes, we can find both prefixes and suffixes. Okay, if we find suffixes and prefixes, they are bound morphemes. They are bound morphemes. Okay, so renew, renewed. If we add ed also, renewed, okay, which was renovated, okay, or which was revised, that is renewed. Then even the both prefix re and suffix ed, these two are bound morphemes, but only new is free morpheme. Got this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Recapping, 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 recaping. Recapping means teaching again or mentioning again. In that, tell me what is free morpheme?
Free morpheme is re, sir.
Uh,
Free
free,
is recap, sir. No, sir. No, sir. Cap.
yes. Cap is free morpheme because independently it can stand as a single word. Cap independently can stand as a single word. Okay, but here see recap, recap. Okay, re is a prefix.
Yes, sir. Bounded.
Re is a prefix.
Yes, sir.
That's why bounded.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, recapping, ing, that is
Is
also, that is a
suffix.
suffix. That is also bounded.
Bounded, sir.
Okay, that's why these two, yeah, in this morpheme we can find, okay, free morpheme and bound morpheme. But still, the free morpheme, the free morpheme is of two types. The free morpheme is of two types. Okay, we can say lexical morpheme and functional morpheme. Lexical morpheme and functional morpheme, right? In case of the word talked, 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 okay, we discussed that ed is a functional, grammatically functional morpheme. Grammatically functional morpheme. Individually, it has no meaning, but when it is grouped or when it is combined with that particular free morpheme, now it change the function of the word. Okay, talk V1, when we add, okay, talk V1, when we add, okay, when we add this ed, when we add this ed, then we got a past form. We got a past form. So by simply adding ed, when we get this past form, then we can call this ed as a functional morpheme. Functional morpheme. But here, don't be confused. Don't be confused. Though it is functional, that is bound morpheme. Though it is functional, that is bound morpheme. In fact, even the free morphemes may be functional. Free morphemes may be functional. For example, I am coming. I am coming. In that, I represent me. Okay? Or a person, we can say. That's my content. What about am? What about am? Am can stand independently. Am can stand independently as a word. As a word. That's why it is free morpheme. But it is not lexical. It is not lexical. It is functional. It is functional. Okay? Then let me explain what is lexical and what is functional. Okay? So what is lexical and what is functional? Okay? So in the vocabulary, if you observe carefully, is, am, are, was, were, will be, shall be, can, could, may, might, will, would, should, and ought to, have to, dare to, and since, and, or, because. These are all the words which we use to represent the grammatical function. Okay, can we think and as elephant? Can we think or can we conceive and can we consider and a and a un like the word elephant?
No,
Okay,
sir.
if yeah, where is the sound? Okay, if we mention the word elephant, then we will get an image. If I mention the word fort, we can get an image or an idea that anything that is eatable. Okay. Rain, if I mention the word rain, then we will understand that the fall of the water drops from the heaven. The fall of the water from the heaven. Okay, the fall of the water from the heaven. 1 minute. So when there is a content in the word, then we call it lexical word. Okay, what do we understand? What do we understand that having a content in the word? That means, okay, if that word refers to a particular object, if that word refers to a particular thing, or if that word refers to a particular place, then it is content word. Then it is content word, we can say. Okay, that content word we call lexical. That content word we call lexical morpheme. Lexical morpheme. Okay, so one is content word, another type is grammatical, or we can say functional words. Another type of words are functional words. They may function as grammatical items, such as prepositions, okay, such as prepositions and articles and these personal pronouns and these helping verbs. These are all functional words. These are all functional words. That's why we will have two types of free morphemes, because okay, the word because and the, a, and since, okay, could, can, may, might. These are all okay, functional morphemes, functional words. That's why we call them functional morphemes, free morphemes, functional free morphemes and a lexical free morphemes, right? So the next is bound morpheme. The next is bound morpheme. Okay, even the bound morpheme is of two types. The bound morpheme is of two types. Okay, you see, one is derivational. One is derivational. Another one is inflectional. One is derivational, another one is inflectional. Okay, what is derivational? What is derivational? You see, in the beginning we discussed talker, Talker, talker. In that case, by adding er, we could find another class of word, another class of word that is different from the rest of the three words: talks, talked, talking, talks, talked, talking. Okay, that talker, okay, which changed, which has changed its class, or which class, whose class was changed, whose class was changed. That word we call, that word we call derivational. That word we call derivational bound morpheme. Derivational bound morpheme. Okay. For example, count, count, verb, account, noun. Okay. By adding simply AC, by adding simply AC, a prefix, we got noun. Actually, COUNT, that is count verb. But by adding prefix AC, we could get a noun. Okay. In case of the bound morphemes, in case of bound morphemes, if those bound morphemes help us to change the class of the words, help us to change the class of the words, they are called derivational. They are called derivational morphemes. Okay. Many examples. Many examples we can find. So, for example, teacher, teacher, teach, teach, noun, sorry, verb, teach, verb, teacher, noun, teacher, noun. Okay, adjust, adjust, verb, adjustment, noun, adjustment, noun. By adding met, the suffix, which is bound morpheme, by adding that ment, the bound morpheme, we could get the verb, the noun form of the verb, the noun form of the verb, adjustment. So, such words, when we have or when we add bound morpheme to the free morpheme, then there is a change in the class of words. If there is a change in the class of words, then we call it as derivational bound morpheme. We call it as derivational bound morpheme, right? So another one, inflectional morpheme, inflectional morpheme, right? So when we use bound morphemes, if those bound morphemes help us to change or help us to change the grammatical function, not the class of words, help us to change the grammatical function, such as a present tense to past tense or a present tense to present continuous tense, like that. That is called inflectional. That is called inflectional. Okay, for example, cat, singular. If you add s, cats, now it becomes plural. It becomes plural. That is inflectional. That is inflectional. Got this point? That is not a derivative. That is inflection, because the class is not changed. Cat is a noun. Cats are also cats. The word cats is also a noun. Cat cat is a noun. Cats cats is also a noun. Okay. Talk is a noun. Talks is also talk is a verb. Talks is also a verb. Okay. That's why they are inflectional bound morphemes. They are inflectional bound morphemes. Got this point?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah, we discussed basically the morphemes. The word morpheme can be divided into two types: free morpheme and bound morpheme. Again, the free morpheme is of two types. One is
Derivational and
lexical,
inflectional. Yes, sir.
free,
Lexical
free, uh,
and
lexical
functional.
and functional. But don't be confused with the word functional free morpheme and bound morpheme.
Yes.
Okay, functional free morpheme is a word which is grammatical. Okay, grammatically play important role, but it can stand alone as a single word.
Single
It can
morpheme. Yes, sir.
it can stand as a single morpheme, such as and, or, at, okay, on, okay, these are. Okay, they are functional free morphemes.
Three
Okay,
morphemes. Yes, sir.
so these are different types of, this is the classification of morphemes.
Morphemes.
Okay, morphemes. So in phonology, we studied phones, phones. In phonology,
Phonemes.
phones, phonemes, and allophones. Okay. In
Allophones.
the same manner, in morphemes also we can find. Morpheme, morphs, and allomorphs. Morpheme, morphs, and allomorphs. Okay, allomorphs. Allo means co. We can say closely related. Closely related. So we discussed morpheme. Morpheme is abstract system. Abstract unit. Morpheme is abstract unit. That's what we discuss as a theory. But what is a morph? What is a morph? Surely the utterance of that word. The utterance of the word. Or the written, yeah, mostly utterance. The utterance of the word. Okay, when we utter a word, then we can feel. Okay, we can feel the actual word. The actual word. ఓకే అక్కడ అది ఉంది అన్నారనుకోండి, ఏముంది? మీరు ఏదో మీ మైండ్లో ఒకటి ఉంది, అక్కడ మీ ఏదో ఉందనే విషయం మీ మైండ్లో. అంటే ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఆన్ ద రోడ్ దెర్ ఈజ్ ఎ స్నేక్. On the road there is a snake. You saw it. You came to your friend. You are trying to explain. అక్కడ అది ఉంది, ఏముంది అది చెప్పాలి. అదే ఎంత పొడుగు ఉంటుంది కదా, అది ఉంది. ఏంటి ఆ పొడుగ్గా ఉంటుంది ఏంటి? That image in your mind. That image in your mind. Even that word is in your mind. But unless you utter that word, it can't be manifested in real practice. It can't be manifested in real usage of the language. When you reveal or when you utter that there is a snake, then your friend may be able to understand. Your friend may be able to understand. That's why morph is the actual phonological realization. As we treated phones as the actual phonetic realizations of the phonemes, so we can propose morphemes as the actual forms used to realize morphemes. Okay, so having that sound, having that abstract system in your mind is not enough. You should be able to utter it. Then only the morpheme, okay, can be realized in the phoneme can be realized in form when we utter that word. In the same manner, morpheme is abstract unit. Morpheme is abstract unit. Okay, in your mind there is a word cat. But to manifest that, you should either write on paper CAT, or orally you should utter it as cat. Okay, then only that word may be realized. Okay, the realization of the morpheme in actual word or basic form is called morph. Okay, then for example, let us see cats consist of two parts. CAT, and S. CAT free morpheme, S bound morpheme. And moreover, the CAT is a lexical free morpheme. Then what about this S? That is inflectional, because the class is not going to be changed. Cat is noun and cats are also noun. That's why it is inflectional. Because by adding S, we got plural, the function, grammatical function. Plural is the grammatical function. Okay, so in this word, in this example, cats, CAT, cat is a free morpheme, especially lexical morpheme, and S, that is a bound morpheme, especially inflectional morpheme. And another word, dogs, DOGS, dogs. Okay, another word, houses, horses, 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 horses. Okay, there is a linguist. They compared these three morphemes. They compared these three morphs. Okay, CATS, cats, DOGS, dogs, and horses, 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 horses. Okay, though these three are inflectional morphemes. One is S in cat, and another one dog, S in dogs, and another one, okay, S in horses. But the problem is that in case of one, okay, the same three inflectional morphemes, What is the inflectional morpheme? S. We added S. Okay, but here see, one is pronounced as cats, sa sound, cats, but DOGS, we do not pronounce it as dogs. We do not pronounce as sa. We pronounce it as za, dogs, not dogs, not dogs, not dogs. Okay, we pronounce CATS as cats, not as cads, not as cats, not as ja sound. We pronounce it as sa sound. Okay, in case of dogs, the same S may be pronounced as za. Okay, dogs. In case of the third example, horses. Okay, as a sound, za. Okay, horses. What can we find? The same inflectional morpheme, but their pronunciation is different. Okay, such three pronunciations of the same morpheme, that is S, we call allomorphs. Because they are related. Those sounds are related with the same inflectional morpheme. Okay, that is, they are allophones. Okay, you see, we can find here, in case of this lexical morpheme, and we discussed the case of the example cats, dogs, horses. Okay, with this example, we can realize, or we can understand how, okay, these allophones may be there. Allomorphemes may be there, as in case of allophones, and phones. Still, we can find, okay, these allomorphemes and morphs, right? So this is morpheme, morphology, morpheme, and types of morphemes, and morphological description. Okay, let us discuss one example. The teacher's wildness shocked the girl's parents. Let us discuss this example. हम्म,
issues reproduce करते हैं अगर मैं भूल गया हूँ एक बार मैं अलग भाई से पूछ के आपको बताता हूँ उन्होंने
ललित ललित प्रिया ललित प्रिया okay. So let us discuss the example. Okay, the teacher's wildness shocked the girl's parents. The girl's parents. You see, the teacher, the, that is free morpheme, and in the word teacher, teacher, okay, that is bound morpheme. Teacher is a bound morpheme with a this lexical morpheme and a derivational morpheme. Okay, teacher, teach, free morpheme. Teach is a free morpheme, but it is lexical. And another one, ear, teacher, ear. Ear is bound morpheme, especially that there is a change of class. That's why it is a derivational. Derivational. Okay. Yes. Still, teachers. Apostrophe S, teachers. Okay, that possessive. Possessive. That is inflectional. Inflectional. Okay, grammatical change. Okay, grammatical function. That is inflectional. Then wild. Wildness. Wildness. Wild. Okay, wild is free morpheme, especially lexical. But ness, that is derivative, derivational. Okay, wild, adjective, wildness, noun, wildness, noun. Okay, then shocked, shocked, shock, shock, verb, that is free morpheme, lexical morpheme, but ed, inflectional, ed, inflectional. Okay, that is okay, inflectional, bound morpheme. And the next one, the girl, the girls. Okay, the, again, functional. It is functional, but free morpheme, and but functional, as in the first word, like the first the. And girl, girl, noun, free morpheme, especially has content. That's why we can call it as lexical, lexical. Apostrophe S. Okay, girls, girls. Okay, here it is also possessive, bound morpheme, inspecific, inflectional morpheme, inflectional bound morpheme. Okay, parents, parent, free morpheme, and lexical, and apostrophe S. Yeah, sorry, plural, plural. S, plural S. That is also inflectional bound morpheme. Inflectional bound morpheme. Yes, students, likewise, we can define every word in a sentence in terms of free morphemes and bound morphemes. Free morphemes may be of two types. Okay, lexical morphemes and functional morphemes. And these bound morphemes are of two types. Okay, derivational and inflectional. Derivational and inflection. Okay, so with these remarks, okay, I will conclude this topic, today's topic. Okay, in the next class we shall discuss syntax. Thank you, Anano. Okay.
Sir, thank you, sir.
Yeah.
हाँ